Hello, my name is Jessica Joy with This Is My Story Solutions. Today I am going to go over our 2020 business plan. Protect our children from Pornography Act. A winnable battle with a huge impact. Why? Why is it that a 12-year-old cannot purchase a Hustler magazine and they cannot walk around with this Hustler magazine showing all their friends this Hustler magazine, but they can walk around with far more explicit material on their tablet, iPhone, laptop? A 14-year-old cannot attend a rated R movie, but yet they can walk around with a XXX theater in their pocket with an Apple cell phone distributed by AT&T. According to the Department of Justice, federal law strictly prohibits the distribution of obscene matter to minors. Any transfer or attempt to transfer such material to a minor under the age of 16, including over the internet, is punishable under federal law. Are we serious? Despite the laws criminalizing distribution of obscenity to minors, 85% of teens and young adults access pornography online at least monthly. 8 to 12-year-olds spend 4 to 6 hours daily on the internet. 3 to 7-year-olds spend 2.3 hours daily on the internet. What is the cost of our negligence? In Wired magazine, Mary Ann Layden, co-director of the University of Pennsylvania Center of Cognitive Therapy Sexual Trauma, declared, "The internet is a perfect drug delivery system if we want an entire generation of young addicts who will never have the drug out of their minds because, number one, the user is anonymous. Number two, they're aroused. Number three, they're role models for their behaviors. Number four, the drug is pumped into their house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's free. And lastly, children know how to use this technology better than grown-ups know how to use this technology. Pornography addicts have a more difficult time recovering from their addiction than Coke addicts. Coke users can use the drug and it gets out of their system, yet pornographic images can stay in the brain forever. Why has the law not kept pace with online transition of pornography? All 50 states have the physical blinder rack law, which requires retailers to place XXX content behind a physical blinder that can only be removed if, number one, the consumer is over the age of 18. Number two, shows proof of ID. Number three, requests the filter to be removed. And then lastly, pays for the content. The Supreme Court ruled that this was the least restrictive and most effective means to protect children from harmful content. Ginsburg versus New York, 1968. Which year? 1968. Protect Our Children from Pornography Act requires that all products that distribute the product of the internet be sold safe with effective internet pornography filters. This includes computers, cell phones, tablets, and the app stores that they include. Any adult consumer can buy the filter deactivation fee from his retailer at the cost of $20. Stiff criminal penalties are attached to failure to comply with this act. Is this constitutional? Great question. It is consistent with our current laws. It is consistent with the physical blinder rack laws, which have been upheld for over 50 years. The Supreme Court ruled that Congress may encourage the use of filtering software in Ashcroft versus the ACLU in 2004. Congress may give strong incentives to schools and libraries to use porn filters and promote the development by the filter industry and used by parents. This was U.S. versus American Library Association of 2003. Next, states have a compelling interest to uphold community standards of decency that X-rated content has a secondary harmful effects. Paris Adult Theater versus Slayton in 1973. State Supreme Courts have upheld the entrance fee into the physical strip clubs and a fee to go back to offset the harmful impact of eroding community standards of decency. This physical version has been upheld in Combs versus Texas Entertainment Association, and that was in year 2011. Does product liability law apply here? Producers and distributors have an affirmative duty to support product safety. We see this in seatbelts, airbags, car seats, child-proof medicine bottles, even toys must comply to safety laws. Minors are restricted from tobacco, alcohol, and marijuana. Access to porn for children has known destructive effects. According to Focus on the Family, teens involved with porn develop unrealistic sexual beliefs and values. They become over-focused on sex. They develop sexual aggressiveness and permissive behaviors, and they become more promiscuous, and they develop behavior problems, depression, and, as we are seeing, bonding issues with others that play out in porn-induced erectile dysfunction in their 20s. What is the status of this act? This act has been introduced into 36 states, but enacted in none because of family policy makers out to destroy this legislation. It has found strong bipartisan support. No one opposes protecting our children, not even Democrats. Democrats oppose female objectification. They love this bill because it creates a revenue for victims' funds, addiction recovery programs, and it fights human trafficking. Republicans love this legislation because it upholds community standards of decency, protects religious liberty of consumers to unwanted material, and protects families and marriages. This is an additional revenue stream for retailers and the deactivation fees. States can receive $1 billion per year to deal with the human trafficking victims and sexual addicts. They will save substantial amounts of money in prison care and being proactive and not grooming criminals through sexual obscenity. This will protect the internet industry from product liability through the demanding of their compliance. Has this act succeeded anywhere? The UK passed a similar law in 2017. Only 30% of consumers have purchased the deactivation code, 70% reduction in the unintentional access to pornography. This in the UK is aimed at the internet providers, which has created a game of whack-a-mole, whereas our bill goes after the direct source, the manufacturers and developers who possess the technology to filter obscenity. It is only a matter of time before class action lawsuit, product liability lawsuits begin to impact the internet industry. Public sentiment has turned against an unregulated internet. Product liability laws rapidly developing more teeth. This is a new frontier, new revenue stream for class action litigators. Who best can complete this task? Bring Christian policy advocacy groups to active support of this act. Currently, Focus on the Family Policy Alliance and Concerned Women for America say that pornography is freedom of speech and hence cannot be opposed legally. This might have to do with the fact that Covenant Eyes, a filter company, is funding these organizations. These organizations recommend the families buy the porn filters. Society places such a burden on families for no other unsafe product. Not all families will be vigilant. Children often are more tech savvy than their parents, and they elude their parents' best behaviors. Manufacturers and retailers must bear the primary burden. Whenever possible, through state attorney generals, we have seen the states set consumer default settings on product safety. Focus on the Family Policy Alliance and Concerned Women for America are in the best position to mobilize support for this act in the Christian community and among family-friendly legislators. Who will lead this battle? Jessica Joy Neely. I'm a preacher's daughter. I'm a former youth pastor that once raped sprawled into the pornography industry. I went to the nation's top faith-based sex trafficking recovery and then went on the road as a full-time public speaker in 2015 and 2016. In 2017, I went full-time into pornography legislation, and now we have pornography legislation in 36 states. I have sown a broadcast seed. Now I must focus on fertile soil to bring it into fruition. I will recruit volunteers and educate legislators. My first half of 2020 will be focused on Oklahoma, Louisiana, Missouri, Arkansas, and Alabama. And the second part of my 2020 year will be to prepare support in Texas for the 2021 legislative session. What can you do? Organize prayer support for this effort. Help underwrite a 2020 budget of $60,000 for living expenses, travel, and production of communication material. Help recruit volunteers in focus states to lobby their legislators. Encourage Family Policy Alliance and Concerned Women for America and other policy advocacy groups to get behind this campaign. And then class action product liability opportunities. We must identify the lawyers with an appetite to pursue this. We must identify families with real damages due to internet pornography. After 30 years, we can most definitely prove damages. But the victory is in sight. In the cultural wars, few issues have broad consensus. This does. Digital devices generally have a lifetime of 3 years or less due to loss, breakage, theft, or being obsolete. Success could reduce access to minors to the internet pornography by 70% or more. This could radically impact the development of their young minds. The filters could also help reduce pornography addiction in the adult population, saving marriages and families untold grief. We must protect our children. Their future depends on us. Thank you.